Hi everyone! Welcome to this month's plan with me for 2023. I'm Aska and I'm so happy you're here. For this month I've chosen an ocean theme with a beautiful floral watercolor effect. If you're interested in learning how to draw any of the creatures in this theme, I've created a book that simplifies the process. You can find the link in the description below. Let's get started! First, I'll be creating the cover page featuring a jellyfish. I want it to flow gracefully across the page, so I'm carefully sketching the tentacles to achieve a sense of movement. To make it even more unique, I'll be adding leaf-like extensions to some of the tentacles. Now let's add a few more leaves to complete the look. Now for the painting, I'll begin with this blue. Usually I enjoy mixing colors, but this particular shade of blue stands out beautifully on its own. Now I will paint a big J to represent June. To tie everything together, I'll use a fine liner to add some delicate leaves around the J and the jellyfish. Next, I'll grab a green colored pencil to introduce more colors and excitement. I'll also add some small flowers, lightly outlining them to make them stand out against the gentle grey. I'll also be experimenting with a different font style as a change from my usual approach. Initially, I started outlining the letters with a micron pen, but I realized I'd have to go over it several times to achieve the nice thickness, so I switched to a Tombow marker to easily achieve the thicker lines I wanted. I'm still undecided about the font, but I'm starting to appreciate its uniqueness. Now let's paint the jellyfish. Using a mix of pinks, purples and blues, I'll create a loose watercolor effect. I erased any pencil marks beforehand. This technique adds a wonderful flow to the drawing. The contrast between the blue and pink hues creates a pleasing visual impact. I'm quite happy with how they complement each other. Continuing with the flow, I'll add some splashes, a signature touch I like to include. These splashes add an extra fun element to the art. Recently, I've been using metallic paints to create nice shiny effects. When the light hits them, they produce a gorgeous shine. Make sure you mix it well with water to get the full effect. I'll be using them for a few more tentacles and additional splashes. Now I'll cut out a tab, a step I always take to make finding pages easier. Here's the finished cover page. Very happy with how the jellyfish turned out. Now let's move on to the calendar page. On the left hand side I'll draw J for June, and on the right a charming seahorse. I'll outline the seahorse, giving it a defined shape. Using the same vibrant blue as before, I will fill in the J. To create a cohesive look, I'll use a loose watercolor technique again, blending shades of blues, purples and pinks around the seahorse. For the top of the calendar, I used the silver paint and then switched to straight black lines for contrast. I think it adds an interesting visual element. I'll also add highlights to the seahorse, making it pop and come to life. Now I'm using a slightly thicker micron pen for the word notes. No need to switch to a Tombow pen this time. To label the days of the week, I'm using my favorite black gel pen. It's a Uniball Signal 0.38 pen, and I can rely on it to have the consistent thickness. I added some more floral embellishment to the J, and of course I created the tab. And there you have it, the calendar is now complete. Next up is the habit tracker page. I sketched out the layout for the habit tracker. I'll use the thicker micron pen to maintain consistency with the font style. Now let's create the mini calendars to track the habits. I'll draw horizontal lines in blue and then vertical lines to form blocks in black. I went for a freehand approach here, but decided to use a ruler later on. In the center here, I'll draw another J using the same blue hue as before. I wanted something unique for the mood tracker, so I drew a manatee. I added a touch of shading to give it depth. I drew leaves and stems that emanate from the manatee, and I'm going to add flowers to indicate different moods each day. So let's draw the flowers that will represent each mood here. Starting from a pink flower, which symbolizes a happy day, all the way to a blue one for a not so good day. Just imagine all these flowers scattered across the back of the manatee representing various moods. I think it's gonna look quite nice. I also added flowers around the J. Let's bring the manatee to life with some colors. I added a touch of yellow to the back, which creates a lovely contrast. Now it's time for the silver splashes, creating a beautiful shine. They really enhance the overall appearance. For this month's habit tracking, I've decided to write the habits in Japanese instead of English, bringing a fresh change to the layout, and I'm Japanese, so it makes sense, right? And let's not forget the tab on the right side. And that concludes the tracker for this month. Now let's move on to the one line a day page. I've sketched out a whale that flows with the letter J and added the title. I'll use the micron pen again for the font. I'm starting to really like how the font looks. Next I'll outline the whale, and this time I've hidden the letter J inside the whale. It gives the impression of water splashing out. Now let's paint the J. You'll notice it becomes more visible. I'm quite happy with how it's subtly concealed. I'll ensure the whale looks like it's rising from the water by incorporating floral elements and splashes of silver paint. I'm only using the metallic silver to add an accent. I don't want to overuse it. Now I need to create sections for each day. I'll simply draw a line using the dots of the page so I have the correct number of days. These simple lines will serve as placeholders for daily entries. Now let's paint all the tabs. I'll start by painting one side, then flip the page and paint the other side. It's a straightforward process. I'll repeat this for all the tabs I created throughout the setup. I'm really happy with how the tabs turned out. If you like this setup and want to print it for yourself, you can become a Patreon. By joining, you'll gain access to all my printable sheets from the past 4 years and won't have to worry about setting up your journal ever again. A link to the printable sheets will be available in the description below. If you do join Patreon, your name will appear on the end screen like you see here. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!